Well, help if the kill switch wasn't on, huh? Oh! Oh my god!
My name is Jeff.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
My name is Jeff.
Turn down for what?
Alright, so it has been forever since I've talked to a camera and filmed a video. I think it's been like probably 3 months, and I guess long story short, I don't really have an excuse. I mean, I guess I have a good excuse. So I live in like a really resort town area. We're really close to Pittsburgh and really close to the DC, Northern Virginia area, and a ton of people have second homes at the lake that I live at. And also it's just a really outdoorsy area that's very rural, and with COVID going on and all the crazy stuff this summer, it was insane here. Like, we had a ton of people, like our summers are always really busy, but this summer was just completely off the charts. And I own a business called Deep Creek Apparel, which is very tourist based, and it was like the most insane summer we've ever had. And on top of that, something else I didn't really ever talk about, because I just don't put personal stuff on social media that often, is my wife was pregnant. This was our second try at having a kid, and so we were both very nervous the entire time after having a miscarriage, and it was just a whole process. And towards the beginning and towards the end, there was just complications the whole time. So by the time summer was winding down and I would have been able to get over here to the shop to kind of mess with the dirt bikes and film those videos, my wife got induced and we had a little girl in October. And that's where I've been. You know, we've just been enjoying that, and I haven't been over here much. If you've ever noticed in the background of my videos, this bike here that has a different number than all my other bikes, it's 924. It's a number less than me. This was actually a bike that over the summer, when I would come over here and just randomly mess around for 10, 20 minutes, I actually picked this frame and swing arm up off eBay for like, I think $100 maybe. And then these plastics were just extra plastics, and the wheels were, I think, another eBay deal. And obviously the graphics were just ones that I've already made for all my other 50s that have yet to be built. But yeah, that's her dirt bike. This will be her first 50. The motor for it is actually under here. I bought a motor off a guy in one of the pit bike groups. Then the other day on Facebook Marketplace, I found a PW50 for $500. So, I mean, you couldn't pass that up. And I already got pink plastics and a Deep Creek Apparel graphics and stuff on the way. So that'll be a video soon. But yeah, that's where I've been. It's been a life-changing experience. But my wife and I are both super excited, and I just can't wait for my kid to be a couple years old and be out here on the track ripping around with us. So, and she's obviously ready, because we got all the toys she needs over here. So, but anyway, the purpose of today's video is I am finally going to do the before and after test of the CJR Throttle Body and all like the zoom parts for the CRF110. And what I did was ordered the Pax Intake, which is, if you've ever seen Pax Racing, it's just PAX. And all this stuff will be linked in the description. They make an intake kit for this whole like airbox mod you can do. What I am going to do, because really all people have seen is dyno charts, which should be helpful enough for you to see how much more power you can squeeze out of one of these bikes. But what I'm going to do is, we went up on the road here and we spray painted the line, and then there's really, I don't even know the distance, I didn't measure something specific, and then I spray painted another line. And what I'm going to do is, I have a GoPro on my helmet, and I'm going to line up at that line, and as soon as you see the front fender in the video go past that white line, I'm going to start a clock when I'm editing the video, and then as soon as the front fender goes over, I'll just slow it down frame by frame, and as soon as the front fender goes over the second line, we're going to time that. I'm probably going to do like 3 or 4 runs of that and take the average time. And I'm also, depending on what, the track has not been ridden over here for, oh my God, probably 4 months. And so what I'm gonna do, hopefully, if it's not just like soup out there, is run, maybe 5 laps, and I'm gonna try to get my old badass into shape here, and I'll run the hardest laps I can, and I'm gonna take the average lap time. Again, we're just gonna use the GoPro camera, and I'll mark something on the ground to time my laps with, like, you can do a built-in timer on Premiere Pro when you're editing. So take the average time of those, and then we're gonna come back in here. I'm gonna put all the parts on the bike. We're gonna turn this thing into a fire breather, and then I'm gonna go do all the same stuff again and see just real world how much of a difference it actually makes. Anyway, that's the plan, and I've talked enough, so let's get the before stuff going, and then we'll come in here and get the parts and everything, and yeah, we'll start moving. So let's do it. This thing hasn't been started for like 2 months. Oh, baby. All right. Let's go up here and get some lines painted. Alright, I'm going to back up here. I'm going to try to do this the same every time I want to do 4 runs. Alright, I don't know how well I'll be able to ride in these, but it is muddy out there, and I would really prefer not to actually wear like proper, I don't know, I don't think I've ever rode pit bikes in muck boots. We'll find out though, huh? I don't know, I should be okay. See how muddy this thing is. I'm gonna do 1 parade lap and then we'll run like 3 laps. A lot of leaves. Oh, that's why we did a parade lap. Tell you guys now, these aren't going to be fast laps. Between the mud and then these leaves, it is slick as shit out here. Woo! This track needs drugs so bad. I have no idea what's under those leaves. There's a lot of rocks out here, so I just attempted to run a couple hot laps, and I can tell you that it's not turning out great. The track needs drug, there's leaves everywhere, so I can't really like get into a rhythm because every lap I would hit something new, and like I guess you can say that's relatively consistent. It'd just be a bad track, but what I'm gonna do is probably just put some of these clips in, and we can just kind of compare. I haven't been able to hit that jump yet because every time I get into the corner, the leaves, and there's just you can't get traction. So, all right, let's do it. Haven't got through this turn clean yet. You can see all my slide marks here. No traction at all. Really don't want to spin off that face and then nosedive. Because this section is destroyed, and you can see, so that tree's time. Nope. Oh, the old second to third whipper. I gotta keep doing it. Yeah, we've got the drags, we've got some lap times on the track that we can at least compare to, and you know, again, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I'll give you and tell you what I think about it, and but yeah, I gotta get this thing cleaned off, and then we can start building it. I had to run this bike up to the car wash real quick to clean all that mud that was caked on it off, and now I'm getting ready to put all the CJR parts on. For anyone curious, this right here is the like the intake tube kit from Pax. You can get it in black and red. Obviously I got red because I have a problem with black and red bikes. The whole process of removing everything and getting all the throttle body and everything out, I am going to link Cameron's video, whatever side that pops up on. He did a full video on how you take this apart, how you move all the parts over to the new stuff, and all of that fun stuff. And there is absolutely no reason for me to remake that video when Cameron does a much better job explaining it than I do. So that, if you're looking for that part, jump over, I think it's this side, watch that video, and then come back. Or if you're not here, if you're here just for that, go watch that video. And if you're still curious and want to see what I say, I am going to pull all this stuff off right now. I'll just time lapse everything and yeah, start tearing this thing apart and get all this stuff moved over. Alright, so, I mean, for my mechanical skill level, I'm cruising along. You'll probably laugh when you see the time lapse because I have Cameron's video up on my phone and just watching it, pausing it, doing what he does. And I mean, it's perfect. It's awesome to have a step-by-step guide like that. I actually have rebuilt a motor this way with someone that did a detailed guide, so it's kind of awesome because you can just literally follow along and do the same thing. So the throttle body that's going on is bigger, and this is the stock manifold right here. That's the one I'm putting on. So you can see the difference. And you know, the way Cameron describes it in his video is pretty good. He said it's like breathing through a straw or a 1-inch tube. So imagine yourself like running on a treadmill, breathing through a straw or a 1-inch tube. This chokes these 110 motors up a ton, and so you can imagine once you get this much more airflow and that kind of stuff, and then everything gets tuned where the airflow and the gas and all that ratio matches, and then with the pipe and stuff like that, you can imagine how much more juice you can squeeze out of these motors. This is the stock airbox, which we're still going to use. And it's like this. There's these 4 black little bolts. I actually pulled this out. And then if you look, there's 2 screws in here that normally have this metal screen. I pulled this out and have popped that metal screen out just because from what I've found online, it seems extremely restricting. But, you know, the only thing really to watch after you do that is just, I would check your air filter way more often. The filter should catch most of the stuff, just check it more often, which is fine because I usually do anyway. But yeah, so that's that. And then this is the Pax Racing Intake tube. And if you haven't seen the videos at all, what you're gonna do is basically cut this off and replace it with this. And what that's doing is, you know, giving you an insane amount more airflow. And also, when you do this, remember, you can do just this mod by itself, and everything Cameron has said that I can find online and when I've talked to him is that you do not have to get a tune. If you just do the intake mod, he said you'll get very minimal gain out of it, but you don't have to have your ECU flashed or tuned or anything like that. And he said it's just a little bit noticeable difference. Ta-da! If you notice on the new throttle body or manifolds or whatever it is, they kind of look like they're slightly tilted from the stock one. Doing this helps that because obviously you can adjust, you can spin this in here either way. But yeah, I'm gonna throw this thing back together and then we're gonna jump over there and try to put the bike back together and make it run. That's the important part. You can put stuff back together, but it's gotta work. I'm gonna say probably taking the gas tank off would be the smart thing to do here, but nobody's ever accused me of being smart, so I'm just gonna try to get it in there and see what happens. So I actually recorded this part and then had to go back. On the stock airbox, I originally said to come like, there's those like these little rings or ribs or whatever you want to call that. Oops, I'm not even showing you. I originally said to go count from the stock airbox to count 2 up and cut it. This intake must be bigger, and since it's already got that metal piece in it, you kind of are at the mercy of that side. So I cut the stock airbox at the very first ring, and then you're actually, and again, check your fitment, but I'm gonna have to come back here and cut a little bit of this red tube off too, because it just won't. What's happening is when you try to put the airbox in, once you get it pushed all the way up, there's just too much tube right here. All right, it took a couple tries, but it worked. And here's I don't want to call this a trick because I'm sure I'm not the only person in the world that's ever thought of this, and maybe I'm just an idiot and this is how you're supposed to do it. But the first time I trimmed this the red hose, there was obviously like, it was very crooked. So what I did once I finally made my mark and knew exactly where I needed was pulled this clamp up to where I wanted, tightened it up, and then used a razor knife, and it just guided it. So I have a perfectly straight cut on this hose. That's factory edition right there. All right, it's not bolted all the way in, but it fits. So probably can't see great, but that's what I kept trimming back, was so when this got in here, it wasn't like majorly kinked or anything like that. I don't know, with all the shrouds and stuff, I wonder if you'll even be able to see it, but I mean, it's kind of cool that it's red. I'm pretty sure I have everything back together properly. There is, again, and I should have already put it on the screen, so the harness about where all these wires go and all this kind of stuff. I will tell you that the Pax Racing Intake, and maybe it's just something I did wrong, which is also very possible, it's pretty snug to get everything back in there. Nothing is kinked or bent. Same thing with the wiring harness. What I did with the wiring harness was actually like where some of the splits are at, you need more length to kind of run the cables so they'll reach stuff. Just take a razor and like cut back so you can just, take the wires wherever you want and then rewrap them with electrical tape is all I did. Because it looks, they're basically wrapped with electrical tape to begin with. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. What I'm doing right now is the TPS reset, which you see this little cap right here. This is down here with your battery. This little cap pops off, and you have to take a paper clip on the blue and green side, stick the paper clip down in the little pins there, and then down here at the skid plate, I don't know where I set the, oh, it's up there. There's a little black cover right here. There it is. This little cover that sits down here. With this right here and that up there, we're supposed to turn the key on. The check engine light will flash, pull that out, we'll get a couple slow flashes, and that's how we know it's reset, and then we should be ready to go. I had messaged Cameron and asked about the TPS reset, but I didn't get his messages back because I don't have signal in here. So I didn't find out until afterwards. If you put all your kit stuff on and you don't have like a really bad bog issue, you don't have to do the TPS reset. I have no idea if I had one because I did it anyway, but here's another one of my stupid moments. I started the bike after all of that, and as soon as I started it, the bike kind of sputtered and then just revved itself to the moon and just stayed there. Like, not rev limiter, but pretty damn close. And I panicked and was like, oh, I probably just have to change the idle. Ran over, turned the idle screw, nothing happened. And I'm like, oh my God, I completely destroyed this thing. I put something back together wrong. And then, just out of pure luck, because I wasn't even thinking about it, while it was revving itself, the handlebars turned. And the bike revved even harder. That is a great sign that your throttle cables are way too tight. And I'm an idiot and just put the throttle cables back on. I didn't really have to pinch them that hard. I didn't think they were that tight. But I came up top here, made a bunch of adjustments while it was running. Now the idle screw works, everything's running. And as far as I know, nothing's gonna blow up, so. Look, that's how your handlebars are supposed to turn. You shouldn't rev when you turn. I know that's a great way to get speed out of corners, but that's not how it works. Here we go, we'll switch over to helmet cam right now.
Oh! Oh my God! I'm gonna have to lean forward to keep this thing down. Second gear, this thing pulls up hard, and I'm not even sitting like back. At least not one without like a big bore or something. All right, this is 3. pretty damn quick. Not gonna lie. Okay, for the sake of keeping things consistent, I'm gonna switch over to these really high-end pit bike boots. I mean, they do have my logo on them, so they're obviously pretty custom. That way, there was a spill from when I was painting one of our rental units. All right, get the old Ripper Magoo out on the track here. So yesterday's footage, this tree was where I marked because we moved a parking area here, and down through there is muddy as hell and messed up. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna try to put down a couple laps. There's the old start stick. Oh yeah, this thing rips.
dance we do down Johannesburg way. Hit it!
If you guys are looking to, spend a couple $100, I can't think of exact price. I know it's like under 400, under 500, I think total for everything, intake and all that stuff. And, change your bike dramatically and put some Gapple sauce on all your friends. That'll do it. So, I can't really, I don't know how to say enough good things about Cameron because he is insanely helpful and the dude knows what he's doing. If you've never been on any of his pages or anything, I recommend you go check it out. But the dude is basically a rocket scientist with motorcycles and fuel injection and tuning and that kind of stuff. So the video is finally finished and it somehow ended up being like 32 minutes long or something crazy like that. I didn't mean for it to be that long. I just kind of get in this habit of shoving as much information as I possibly can in these videos. I think that's why my CRF110 build video was popular, was because it had pretty much all the random questions people asked. I hope that I had it in there somewhere. That's going to be the same case with this whole throttle body upgrade stuff because it's kind of like the first really big upgrade you can do to the CRF110s. And I had posted a picture of the kit that I was putting on in the Facebook group that I helped Cameron Jones admin on Facebook. It was just a picture of the whole kit with the Pax Racing Intake. And I got bombarded with questions and messages, and I posted the same picture on my Instagram story and the same thing happened. So I figured instead of exporting the video like it was and getting all those same questions, I would just put all the answers to those questions at the end here, and then somewhere in the description I'm going to have time jumps so you can just pick whatever you want to listen to. You don't have to watch all 40 minutes of this video. There was a couple questions that were very popular. I would say the most popular one was just people asking which kit I had. I have the 24mm kit on my bike. And the other part of that question, which is also something that a lot of people asked, was what's the biggest kit that you could put on your bike and keep your airbox? Right now, Cameron has 4 kits. There's a 24, a 26, a 30, and a 34. If you go up to the 26, you can keep your stock airbox, but the 30 and 34, as of right now, you have to take the airbox off and use a pod filter. That's why I don't want to go up to one of those kits currently. I don't like pod filters. I like to be able to wash my bike off with a power washer and lay it over on its side, just clean underneath and just not have to worry about water getting in somewhere it's not supposed to. It's not that it's impossible to wash a bike with a pod filter. It's very possible. It's just kind of annoying. And I'm still on a stock bore bike, so the 24 and 26 seem to be great for that. Cameron does have a huge exhaust shootout video coming out that talks about stock exhaust, every single brand exhaust, and different the throttle body kits, the big bore kits, all sorts of crazy stuff. So whenever that video is available, it'll be a link in the description too. The other thing too that I may have forgot to mention is that Cameron told me that sometime within the next year, sometime in 2021, they're working on another big bore kit, and they are also working on a 30mm kit, throttle body kit, that will allow you to keep the stock airbox. So that's probably going to be pretty popular. And if I ever do decide to take my bike to like a 132 big bore or 149 or whatever the other one they're working on is, you would want to jump up to like the 30mm throttle body, but I want to be able to keep my stock airbox. So that was kind of a deciding factor on me with what I wanted to do. But it sounds like, Cameron, the mad scientist here, has more stuff in the works. So, keep an eye out because I think, he is constantly in contact with all these companies in Japan and all these places that do a lot of Honda motor work. And he's getting these parts in and testing stuff, and he's even having parts made. So, whether it's clutch kits, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff he's doing with these mini bikes. So kind of keep your eye out. If you're not on the CRF110 Riders Facebook group that we have, there's I want to say right now there's 7,500 people in there, and a lot of parts for sale, a lot of people talking back and forth about stuff, and there's just a lot of cool stuff going on. So yeah, that's basically it. Next question was, because I have the Piranha, the knockoff Pro Circuit pipe on my bike right now, which tune I was running. Cameron and I actually went back and forth about this for a while because he doesn't have a specific tune for the Piranha exhaust yet, just because he couldn't get his hands on one back when he was doing a bunch of these and when he sent me the ECU that was already flashed. And we found out that the Yoshi and the Two Brothers pipes were both extremely similar header sizes. The mufflers obviously are different, but the header sizes were almost exactly the same, and even dimensions and stuff were the same. So the Two Brothers one is the one that I'm running on the ECU has on it currently, which is seems to be working great, but down the road, Cameron's actually going to switch me over to an A-Racer unit, which then we can fine-tune stuff and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and he can actually like email me or tell me how to change things on my own. And that kind of goes into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is people asking as far as price and stuff like that. The throttle body kits start at $199, and the flashed ECU start at $99. I messaged Cameron about this because I was kind of curious at, what's the difference between going from $99 to $149, and his answer was that the $149 is basically unlimited. So in the future, when they get updates or revisions, they'll give you those. So, and there's, literally hundreds of options eventually down the road that you can constantly keep fine tuning and changing things with your bike. So basically the answer is, if the exactly how your bike is what you want to keep it like, the $99 makes plenty of sense. You don't have to update anything. You want to keep the bike like it is. If you're planning on changing things or want to keep upgrading or doing anything else, or even think you have that option if you go with the other one. So I have the V2 version on my ECU, and again, like I said, he's going to update me to either one of the Dyno Jet, the name of it's in here, or an A-Racer, which would just give me the ability to basically do updates myself. So the other question that I think a lot of people have asked is, I think currently, at least I know from when I've looked, there's I'm going to say other than Cameron, there's probably 2 or 3 other companies I've seen that are doing dynos and tuning and stuff for CRF110s. And a lot of people have asked me if there's any difference. And this is obviously, people probably are going to think I'm just saying this because I like Cameron. But from my research and what I've looked into all the other companies doing this, Cameron's equipment just seems to be a little bit higher grade than the other ones, the other people that are doing stuff right now. He uses a Dyno Jet system. The 2 other companies that I found that will do ECU flashing and stuff like that are using a different type, which it's not that those systems don't work. It's just that the Dyno Jet gives you a lot more in-depth options. There's way more you can do. And like I said earlier, with the 149 flash, with the unlimited upgrades and stuff like that, you actually have the ability with that to purchase, I think it's called a Dyno Jet PV3, which is basically like a flash tool that's handheld. So if you don't really understand what that would be useful for, say you're at a pit bike race that one class you have to have a stock exhaust, and then the next class or other class you're racing the same day, you're allowed to have a different exhaust. This tool would be able, you could have those maps on your phone or on your little handheld unit, and you could actually just in a couple minutes change just flash, when you change the exhaust right there. It wouldn't have to be like a mail-in thing. You could do it on your own right there, which, to me is really cool because I have not decided, you probably saw in my original CRF110 build video that I am not dead set on any exhaust on the CRF110. The reason I bought the Piranha was because it was cheap and because I liked the way it looked. And I was waiting to see what everyone else came out with, which, if you go back and watch from when I built my bike to now, there's probably 4 to 5 other companies that have come out with exhaust. At the end of the day, I was kind of waiting to see what Cameron said, and he had a chance to test every exhaust. At the end of the day, I'm probably going to end up with the Yoshi, but I wanted to make sure someone didn't come out with this way better option. And it looks like there is great options, but we'll see whenever his exhaust shootout's done and he has actual data and dyno charts and stuff to tell us this is the best exhaust you can buy. The other questions people had were just typical questions that you see in these groups all the time. The first one was, if I just put a pipe on my bike, do I have to tune it? The answer technically is no. Your bike, depending on which pipe it is, I think it's most of them, putting a pipe on and doing nothing else, your bike's going to run a little bit more lean, but it's not going to hurt anything. but you also probably aren't really doing that much to the bike. You may feel a little bit of difference, but a lot of it may just be in your head because there's more noise. I don't really know, but from what Cameron has said and from dyno charts and stuff, just putting a pipe on doesn't hurt anything, but it also really isn't giving you any gain. The other question is the airbox mod that you saw in my video. If you do that, do you have to tune the bike? That also, the answer is technically no. You can do that, and Cameron said that amount of additional airflow actually does give a little bit difference of feeling of just like that seat of the pants, like, you know, right when you get on the throttle. You may feel a slight increase in that, but you don't have to tune to do that. But like I said in the video, I can honestly tell you, considering my kit is the smallest one you can get to, this is basically, mine is the least amount of power you can put to the bike, and it's a noticeable difference. So going up to a 26 or you know, jumping up to something else, it's going to be a pretty big difference. Yeah, that's basically it. If there is something that I didn't answer in one of your questions, be sure to drop it in the comments. Get on the Facebook group and ask. We're pretty active on there. But yeah, that's it. I got a bunch of other pit bike videos coming up. I got 2 Sano 50s I'm going to build. I got my daughter's 2 bikes that we're going to build. And then I have a KLX110 that is going to get some cool stuff done to it. And we have all this stuff coming on my CRF110. We got a BBR swing arm coming back from powder coat, and then we're changing the front to inverted forks. So that's it. I'm sorry this video was 45 minutes, but I'll catch you in the next one.
Hey, the beat go off? Hey, I up it, then my heat go off. Bang! I heard he do that sneaky talk.